radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network.
All right. Good evening, Fade to Black. How you doing? Today's Wednesday, August 6th, 2025. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Let's do this, man. Yeah. This week on Fade to Black, Monday night, I was off air. I was traveling. And as I obviously I knew who was booked on the show last weekend. And so, you know, this week was called Badass People Week, my favorite of my favorites. Everybody's my favorite, but on the week, they just happen to be women. And so it's Badass Women Week here on Fade to Black. Last night, Sarah Breskman-Cosme was with us, a hypnotist journey, and it was a fantastic conversation last night. Tonight, Caroline Cory is here. She is back. Call the show Filmmaker, Futurist. It's going to be an open conversation. It's what Caroline and I always do. You know, where we start, we start. Where we wrap things up, we wrap things up. And we're going to go into a little bit of everything tonight with Caroline. And then tomorrow night, Linda Moulton Howe is here, right? Kids, what a week here on the show. Tomorrow night, it is Earth Files on Fade to Black. Now, I have 4 events, actually 5, that I'm talking about right now, all in 2026, because I have cleared the slate for the rest of 2025, because I'll be traveling every month through January to shoot Beyond Belief. And that goes down once a month. There are some complications with booking and travel and dates and stuff. And I was like, well, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Not going to do that. Not going to complicate things. So that's what I'm doing for the rest of the year. But coming up in 2026, now I do have some international events too as well. And I like to announce those way in advance so everybody can make travel plans and do all of that stuff. First up for me in 2026 is the Conscious Life Expo, February 20th through the 23rd at the LAX Hilton. Right after that, it's the Contact Modalities Expo, May 1st through the 3rd, 2026 in Delavan, Wisconsin at the resort there. What a beautiful resort. What a great conference. And then I'm back for Contact in the Desert. That is May 28th through June 1st. And out in Palm Springs, tickets will be available on Thanksgiving Day in a couple of months. And then I head to Scotland for the Monty Python tour. That's right. I'm hosting this tour of Scotland where we are going to go to the filming sites and the castles and the places from the film Monty Python and the Holy Grail. And that takes place August 1st through the 9th, 2026. And then after that, in November, I'm going to Peru and Easter Island. And when I get those dates locked down, I will get them to you. I'm doing that with Brian Forrester. I do it, once or twice every year. This will be my 4th trip to Peru by the time this rolls around in like 2 years. Man, it's crazy. It's crazy how many times I've been to Peru. Peru's amazing. But it'll be my first trip to Easter Island. So wouldn't you like to do that with me? We can both just, right? Adrenaline rush together. Okay, so that's my tentative booking schedule through 2026. All right. I mentioned HH, who was always in the chat room. Everybody knows HH. And HH last week in the AMA, which was on Wednesday, his AMA question was, hey, man, so if I drive 2 hours to the conference, I know it's sold out, man, but if I drive 2 hours, can I get a selfie with you? I said, yeah, man. just go in, go to registration and tell them who you are, and they'll come and get me. And it happened. HH showed up, and I was on stage. I couldn't leave the stage. So Michelle brought him in, and we took a selfie from the stage. Really cool. And that picture I just posted on Facebook. I didn't do it throughout social media, but it's right there on Facebook. So if you guys want to meet HH, head over to Facebook. I'll Chris or Bill or somebody get it posted up in the fan page. Okay, that'd be really cool for all the Fadernauts to see HH. It was absolutely incredible. All right, and then I had one last thing to say, and that is Renee. No relation to the Renee I'm about to speak about. But Renee Newman, our producer here for the news, sent me Renee Cruz's obituary today. And there it was. And it was announced last night on the show. And I wanted it confirmed. Bill confirmed it over the weekend. But Renee Cruz, I am dedicating this show to you tonight. Renee left this earth and was a part of the Fadernaut family from the beginning. Loved his passion for music. And, no matter what, if we're talking UFOs or life after death or crystals or special powers, remote viewing, whatever we were talking about, sports, Renee always tied in music to whatever we were talking about, and his questions and comments were always so passionate, and we're friends, family. And so there you go. Wow, rest in peace, Renee. You need it just from your hanging out with this show for the last 10, 12 years. So there you go. And yeah. All right. So moving on. Show is dedicated to the one and only Renee Cruz. All right. By Renee Cruz with live chat. Yeah, I know, right? Right there. Renee was absolutely amazing. Still is. He's out there somewhere. Tonight, Caroline Cory is here. She is a filmmaker. She is a futurist, of course. She's been on this show many times. I've done so many things with her over the years. And I've kind of decided, I was just talking this about her. I want to talk about her life's work, her research, how she does it, how she ties it in with science, and how it opens up the world around us, leading us into our future. We're going to do that. She's an international speaker. She's a visionary author of the best-selling books, Consciousness and Quantum Healing. As a child and throughout her life, she has had numerous otherworldly encounters, which led her to become deeply connected to spirituality, the study of consciousness, and the mechanics of the universe. We're going to do so much more than just consciousness tonight. I want to welcome back to Fade to Black, the one and only Caroline Cory. She's right there. Caroline, what's going on?
Hey, darling. How are you?
Darling, I'm fine.
Darling, I'm getting ready for my trip to London.
Yeah, right. That could almost be France, but you are going to London. Welcome back. It seems like forever since we have talked, but we do it all the time. This time it was a bigger gap than most. It was like 3 weeks.
I know.
Yeah.
We always have so much fun at all these events and everything.
Isn't that the point? High vibe. I asked you, it was a long time ago, but I asked you once, I said, how important, you know what? No, let me frame this a different way. People resonate with you. I resonate with you and your work. And I think the reason why I resonate so much with you is because I love the woo. I do. I love the crazy. But I need the science to keep me from going crazy. And so when I read your stuff and we talk, or your films and everything else, you always present a scientific side to help us understand the phenomena. And that, I think, is what I resonate with, because I need the science. How important is that to you, the science part of this? And does it help keep you grounded?
Totally. I mean, it's that, I've been having experiences and working with people in this field for years and years and years, right? And I just feel like it doesn't really help to tell people, oh, I can do remote viewing, or, oh, I can, I'm telepathic. It's like, who cares? I want to be able to understand how things are done. And I feel that that's the piece that's missing in this field. That's why for example, when I did the film Superhuman, I said, I want to show everything on camera. Like, we're going to set up science experiments so that people can see for themselves how we set it up, how it's possible, what kind of data we get, what kind of data, excuse me, what kind of data we cannot get. Or, like, I want it to be so authentic, because I think there is science. We just don't understand this type of science. So, and I feel that's the piece that was missing. That's why I think, for me, it's super, super important. And I'm going to continue doing that.
Yeah, the community has always had the challenge of putting up with debunkers, or somebody that was going to come in and debunk and explain away something that is quite possibly phenomenal, right? Superhuman, supernatural. And so the community is always dealing with that. These debunkers that want to come across as rational and pragmatic, probably atheist, but I said it out loud. And because, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So the community's always dealing with that. Well, we really like it when we have something that is coming in and from a scientific side to help support the community, and something that a debunker would have a hard time debunking when it is based in science, right? And do you understand what I'm saying? The community needs that. They need the science side to help support the crazy.
Absolutely. And I think, like, when I did this film Superhuman, where it was like one experiment after another, one scientist after another, that was exactly the purpose. One was to empower the people who believe in this already, to show them that they're on the right track. They're not crazy. This is real. And that's why this is real. But also all those who are on the fence, totally, it worked. Jimmy, like, I had people to this day, actually, people reach out to me on LinkedIn. I don't know why, of all places.
Is that still a thing?
Yeah, I guess. But the kind of people that would find me on there were the people who were on the fence, kind of mainstream people. And I would get messages from lawyers, judges, mayors, like people that you would never think were into this. And they were not. And so they would find me on LinkedIn and say, you know what? I just watched the film and I watched this experiment, and it reminded me that this and this and that. And I so believe in it. And now I believe in it again. And so it really, I just realized that I tapped into something, like you were saying, that's so important that we don't talk about often enough. And so, and I'm continuing to do that. Like, you have to, now that I see the impact it's had,
Well, but that's I think that's such an important point, that when you look at something like your film, the telepathy tapes is certainly a great example of this, where we have our community, And inside of our community is, the Superhuman, not your film, but the Superhuman psi community that's inside of that can involve different things of the mind and the power of the mind. But it's very niche, even inside of our community. But the rest of the world is very interested in this and the success of not only your films, but like the telepathy tapes. That went way to be the #1 podcast in the world. That says that the rest of the world is thinking about this and talking about this and has wondered about it for a very long time. And that's why I think we could have to continue to push this forward, right?
Absolutely. And first of all, autism is a lot more widespread than we think. It's almost like every other neighbor I have has some sort of autistic child or something. So
my brother has a nonverbal autistic son.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
more common than we think. So already that subject was amazing. And then the telepathy. I mean, come on. Do you know one person who did not have some sort of telepathic episode where they went,
No.
what? Like
No.
everybody has these,
Right.
everybody has these things where they think of somebody they haven't thought about in 20 years and boom, here's the phone call. Or here's the letter, or here's this. It's like, and then they wonder, wait, how did that happen? Or like, how did the person that I'm connected with, who's in another country right now, know this and that? So, I mean, because these are real phenomena. I mean, like we all are going through this, but nobody's actually looking at this phenomenon and going, okay, what's going on here and how does it work? So that's the reason why I think the producer, I can't remember her name, she tapped into like the two topics, that pretty much so many people are experiencing on a daily basis or, want to know more about. So I think that was brilliant. And it showed, like you were saying, it was the #1 show. So it was amazing.
Yeah, the world is interested in this. I think that we're getting closer to just a broader general acceptance of it, where it's just a thing, it's just a part of life. And we're almost there with it. What I would love is for science to come in and say, okay, this is what's going on, right? We figured it out. It's consciousness, it's entanglement, and it's the basis of so much of the unreal phenomena that we experience. And it's actually just one simple thing, but we have figured it out. This is what's going on. Now we can study it and we can move forward. That day is very soon, I think.
Well, I don't know. Like, there's some scientists that, who are still like, you can't pronounce the C word, like C for consciousness.
No, you can't. You
can't. I mean, I remember when I was filming Terror in the Sky, there was like, we were, butting heads, the scientists in the film were hardcore scientists, I was like, and then I had Travis Taylor, who started out as a hardcore scientist and who totally, I guess after working on the show, Skinwalker, became so much more open. So they were, I was watching them having this debate because I kind of gave up. And Travis would be like, well, how can you not accept that there is consciousness? You are a conscious person, aren't you? It's like, and then I think it was Matthew who'd be like, yes, but we can't prove it. And there's no study for this. And so what I'm saying is there are some scientists that are still stuck in that perspective that consciousness cannot be proven, period. And then there's the rest that were kind of on the fence or are really more open. And to me, that's what science is to investigate, how things work. And so those, I think, are very, very close to not saying this is how it works, because the paranormal, right, is not provable. Like, we cannot use physical laws, physical science to prove something that's non-physical. What we can prove is the interaction. It's the effect of one on the other. So we can never. What would be amazing is the day where they would say we cannot actually measure consciousness, but we have so much data that consciousness exists because we can see the effect it has. Here, boom, boom, boom. This is the data.
Well, that's yes, of course. And that's where we are with knowledge and the capacity to understand something. That's where we are today. But we increase that capacity as each day passes, right? We get smart and we understand. The easiest way to think about that for me is if you go back 200 years ago, would somebody understand a fiber optic cable and transmitting images from one house or one city to another? No, that's voodoo black magic.
Exactly.
But now today we understand the process of it. So when it comes to consciousness, ET, some advanced civilization that comes here that's 1,000 years or 1,000,000 years ahead of us would have overcome and figured out the technical scientific sides of consciousness. We're just not there yet. We can observe that it is there and we know that it interacts, but what is it and how does it work? One day we'll get to that point. I think it's exciting to discuss things like entanglement when, as crazy as that was 50 years ago, 70 years ago, when Einstein started to debate this, and crazy action at a distance, something that has been repeated now over and over again, but that's because it was insane to him, right? And it was just above him. Today, we accept it. And could that be the answer? I don't know. It could be a part of it, but one day we're going to have an understanding. And this is my take. It's going to be super easy. It's going to be
Yeah. It's going to be like this is, why didn't we think about it before or something?
Right.
I mean, it's like, and it's just so obvious. Like, so for example, when we were debating with scientists that don't believe in this stuff, I'll be like, so how is it possible that I can move a physical object when it's in a vacuum? It's in a vacuum. So it's not the electromagnetic field. It's not the temperature, because the temperature is, you can see the measurement. It's not moving. And at a distance, how can you disprove that? Especially when you take baselines. Again, as a scientist, you create control, you create baselines. I mean, we're just talking the bottom line. How is it possible under those circumstances to be able to do that under vacuum? There's nothing in the physical laws that could explain it. So they scratch their head, then they scratch their head. They'll be like, I don't know. And,
right.
But it doesn't mean anything. It's like,
I remember 50 years ago. 50 years ago is 1970. That's crazy. Let's go back 80 years ago, when all of these Copenhagen conversations started to come out. The physicists would get there in Copenhagen, have a couple of martinis, start punching each other, and great conversations and stuff came out of that. But suddenly we had this statement from the world of physics. You can observe something and change its state.
Yes.
Right?
Look at
Right. And now that is the most woo-woo thing you can possibly say.
I know.
and now it's accepted. So why can't we have a world of telekinesis? Why can't we have a world of entanglement and entangled particles between our brain and our eyes and our fingertips, or whatever it is that we're using as a medium, and have this be a part of our 3D reality? And I'd say that's it. Back to your point, because I'm answering my own question. Science Science used to be about being a child and pondering and dreaming and then going and figuring it out. Not staying
Yeah,
inside of the box, not staying inside of a funding and environment, right? Not dealing with the National Science Foundation and
right,
writing a
right.
white paper. It wasn't about any of that. It was about what's going on. It could be something way out here. Okay, let me go and figure that out. We've lost that childlike dreaming, that part of science, haven't we?
Yeah, but there are scientists, thank goodness. I mean, these are the ones I'm working with who are by the way, these are real scientists. I mean, real physicists, real, neuroscientists. I mean, these are real people who went to Harvard and Stanford and, so and they are willing to go outside the box and figure things out. And, I don't know if I can jump to that, but I'm kind of excited about it. I'm filming.
Jump.
Okay, I'm jumping. I'm filming Superhuman 2 right now. And we just did one experiment. I don't want to kind of spoil the surprise because I'm not ready to talk about the whole film. But speaking of science, so I just had an idea. Is
Am I
there
in the film?
not yet?
What? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
I mean, I
So
want it, man. I want to get involved. I think I've got a powerful mind.
you may have
I
to
think I
zap
do.
your brain or do something.
Anyway, continue.
Yeah, and so I was talking to the talent that's in the show, and I just had this idea. And doesn't science start with an idea, with an hypothetical idea, right? I said, what can I do to prove that there are past lives? Now, there are people who don't even believe in past lives. And I'm not saying you should believe or you should not believe. I'm just saying, can we prove, or what can we do to prove that there is such a thing? Could there be such a thing? And we did this experiment, and I just knew it. We could see, I don't want to say like the whole thing, but just to tell you, we have data that shows that a past life is actually a real thing. So I'll talk about
Okay, coming from you,
yeah.
I'm all in. But how would you collect that data without
Well,
giving too much away? But how do you approach that?
well, again, that's kind of what I don't want to say too much, because also it was so exciting when we saw that data. It had to do with memory. So basically, how do you prove that it's a past life, that your past life memory is actual memory? It's not your own imagination. Like when you had a past life regression, I know with Sarah, for example.
Yep.
Like how do I know that whatever came out of your mouth when you were under hypnosis, right, was not made up? You could feel, but how do I know as a scientist that you were telling the truth, or you made it up, or it's your imagination? And not that you're willingly not telling the truth. It just could be, I don't know, your imagination, your projection, your fantasy, or you know what I mean?
I do.
So this is the kind of data that we were able to collect. Insane. Insane.
But that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. You know what I can't find it. I'm a little upset. I was looking for some of the images of you and I when we were taping a pilot to a TV show. I can't. I wanted to surprise everybody with one of those images and have you go, take that down. But yeah.
So now.
But wait, you said something. I don't want to let it go.
Yeah.
How do we know it's not made up? That's always going to be the criticism or the comment. Yeah. Even with my own experience with it, it wasn't made up, and now it's so vivid.
But
It,
could it be your, like hallucination? Could it be your imagination? You know what I mean? Not that you would do it on purpose, but how do we know it's an actual memory, something that did
right.
happen to you, in fact? So that's the data we collected. And when we saw this, I was like, oh my God, this is insane. So now
Do
I'm
you think
talking
that
to,
okay? Well, wait. Okay, so I'm talking to. I won't let you. I won't let you forget. But you're saying very important things. I don't want these your thoughts to get away from us. Is the data in our brain or with the past life,
Mm.
which would be there before you were born? Is it in our DNA? Where do you think the data
Mm.
is coming from?
You will have to watch the film.
Okay, fair enough. But you've addressed this?
Yes,
What
yeah, exactly.
wow.
So
Wow.
that's why what I'm saying is, speaking of scientists, like, I mean, first of all, who's going to thinking of past lives or whatever? And what's the point? It's not to convert people to make them believe in past life. It's to say, wait a minute. If this is an actual memory of this person who is not sitting in this chair, then where is that information? Where? This
There is
means that your
I
consciousness is not local.
right,
Anyway,
right.
I mean, the implications are tremendous. So I'm
So
talking to Dean Radin right now,
right.
and to see if we can do a whole, like, more, more groups and more stuff, because this is huge, I think.
When the conversation comes up about information and is it permanent information in general, all of it. The debate came up around black holes that once
Mm.
you string something out and you go to the singularity, that's it. Everything is gone, including the information, no matter what comes out on the back end. And Hawking got involved with Hawking radiation, and the Hawking radiation, is it destroying information? And is it all? How do you reassemble the information? Check this out. Now, the latest part of this debate is that when you have a black hole and you have the final swirl on the edge, right? That when everything is taken apart, but that retains itself, and it's still information, and it is there, and that it isn't destroyed with the Hawking radiation, and that uh, when you look at it in those terms, past lives, consciousness, memories, thinking, and thought from all of those planets and all of those star systems that get swallowed up in a black hole, their existence never really goes away.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
that was always, it's like a Pandora's box for me. One day the earth is going to be gone. All of the beautiful things, the deers drinking out of bubbling brooks, right? Things like, this beautiful blue planet that we have, and all of the great, amazing things, our children and grandchildren and experiences and all of that. Could the universe lose that? And could it just be a memory that just goes away? Or do we live on, and does that information stay there forever? And I think that the answer is yes, it does. And that makes me feel pretty good. Like I can sleep at night.
Yeah, it does stay forever. Otherwise, I mean, what's the point of all this, really? Speaking of black holes, I worked with Rudy Shield, who's like that's his specialty, the black hole. And he was explaining to me how he was able to prove or demonstrate. Scientists get very nervous when you use the word proof. They're like, oh, how can you, but anyway. So he was able to demonstrate that the memory remains always trapped on the surface of the black hole. But then it's like the boundary, basically. But then when information could be a physical star or any sort of information, goes into the black hole. In the beginning, they said it gets destroyed. We never see it again. But now more recently, they're saying, oh, no, it comes out, but it's different. So I personally, from what I understand, and of course, I can't prove it this way scientifically, but the way I understand consciousness and the mechanics of life, basically, the black holes or wormholes, actually, originally they thought they didn't exist, but now they're saying they do exist, serve to change the information, to transmute it into something else. That's how Einstein said, energy, once it's created, cannot be destroyed. That's it. It's
right.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Can change it. And how do you change it? How do you transmute it? Through the going into 0 point, which is past the singularities, not singularities. Like past singularity, you can stop to exist. You're outside time and space. And then you transmute into a new form of whatever it is. So it's fascinating.
What's fascinating about that is, okay, so consciousness, the soul, and I think it's the same thing, but leaves your body. We know that it's out there, or it's non-physical and enters your body when you are born, right? Okay, so there's that. Could a black hole theoretically disassemble consciousness? And I would say no. I would say that would always stay. So let's say you and I meet our end in a black hole. You and I are on a flying saucer, right? And we get sucked in, spaghettified, right? But you and I are still looking at each other. Did we get sucked in or not? I think we did. We did, right? Yeah. Well, how come I can see you? I don't know. Why am I talking to you right now? And then we come out the other side, and where consciousness is existing throughout the universe. And I look at it that way. I really, really do. And could it be that consciousness is just the dark energy and dark matter that is being talked about so much in physics right now? What if that is consciousness that is pushing galaxies apart, that is expanding the universe? What if it's that? What if that's the energy that nobody can see, hear, touch, feel, right? All of that. And I think that there's a big possibility that just may be the case. What do you think?
Yeah, it's very, very close to that. Very, very close. But it's still like one more step. To me, consciousness is fundamental, meaning like if there's before and after, it's even before dark matter. Maybe dark matter is then the next level, next layer, if you will, that allows the mechanics of it. You know how it's moving, it's pushing stars away, it's whatever. So, but still at the core of everything is consciousness. So from consciousness is the substance basically that has the ability to create. So you create from consciousness. I mean, we're talking about super, super sophisticated conversations here about existential conversations. But so if consciousness were this fundamental substance and has had the innate ability, intrinsic ability to create itself into new forms, then it would create itself into a star, it would create itself into a planet, it would create itself into an intelligent being, it would self-create into billions and billions and billions of aspects of creation. So that up here, once this intelligent being showed up and this planet is up here, it looks like, oh, we're separate. I'm this person standing on, this planet, and here's up the moon that, and it's this distance and time and space and all that stuff. But everything emerged from the same substance. And that's what allows this interconnection of everything. So no matter how far you go,
would some cultures call that God?
Yeah, whether you call it God, creator, or, So
Right.
that's the reason why up here, if you look at it from this perspective, then telepathy makes sense because down there, you're still connected. You came from the same fabric. Up here, you have the illusion like, hey, I'm different than you. You look different and the planet is round and I'm tall and blah, blah, blah. But we're made, in fact, Sir Carl Sagan said, we're made from the same stardust material. So, so that's the reason why I think all of existence, so to speak, is emerging in these multitude of aspects. And at the core, at the beginning, it's the same fabric. That's the concept of entanglement, the concept. It explains everything. It explains entanglement. It explains telepathy. It explains remote viewing. It explains everything.
What would you ask ET? You have one question. This is not fundamental. This is a non-trivial, big deal question. I would ask ET. So I'm going to give you a flavor. This is what I would ask ET. I got one question. My question, and you've dealt with this forever, so I can't wait to hear your answer. My question would be, how'd you do it? How did you survive? How did you not kill yourselves off? How did you make it through? Right? That's what I would want to know. That's my question. Not about where are you from? How did you get here? Propulsion. No. I would ask, how did you survive? You have one question for ET. What would it be?
I mean, can I answer that question?
Yeah.
I think ET would say they understood the principles of the universal laws, that everything emerges from the same substance. Therefore, destroying another eventually gets, it becomes self-destructive. So once you get that, you stop doing the stupid things you're doing. You see what I mean? And that's what an evolved ET or an evolved civilization is going to be like, because they understand the fundamental existential makeup mechanism of the universe. It does not. If you think about this, if you know that every time you drop a bomb somewhere else, you pretty much have destroyed an aspect of yourself. You can't see it right now, but at the core of your being, you have destroyed an aspect of yourself in a different way. And it's a much bigger picture, and humans are very linear. They can only see cause and effect, like right here. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, I'm thinking I want to buy a house. Why isn't the house showing up? I want a relationship. Why like they want like linear, you don't realize that you're multidimensional. You're creating in so many directions of time and space. But every time you have a thought and you create something, it is going to have an effect on you. So you go, fast forward in linear time, a few 100 years or whatever, you will see that cycle came back to you somehow.
Wow, it's heavy.
It's very heavy, but that's my take on it.
Good. That's really interesting. So, okay, not to get all Zen, but is that more in tune with, I'm not making fun of you or your comment. Is it like, okay, man, I'm living in the now, right? Where
no, not at all.
It's
no.
Okay.
It's just self-awareness, understanding that every thought.
No, that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And not understanding cause and effect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're like, oh, if I hit you here, it's gonna blah blah blah. Yeah, that's like the very limited, narrow, But you are a multidimensional. Like people don't understand how the brain works. The brain is like multidimensional. We see those linear, alpha waves, beta waves. It's like one thing. But look at we just did that. I mean, you do brain mapping. There's so many, like every area of the brain fires differently with different waves. So you can't say, oh, I'm at a beta or I'm an alpha in one thing. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
just, yeah,
I
maybe
do.
that part of the brain is doing that at the time, but this other part of the brain is doing gamma this way, and this, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. The brain here's the crazy thing about, I'm saying this to the audience about what you're saying. I think a lot of scientists, being so pragmatic, so black and white, want to break the brain down to electrical signals on and off.
yeah,
That's it. There's other, and that, so they did the what's still going on in Switzerland, right? The brain experiment where they built the largest computer in the world. They're still doing it. It's still there. Where they thought if they built a computer with trillions and trillions of connections, the same amount that are in the brain, that once they got to that number, that it would act like a human brain. Well,
no.
they did, and it didn't.
It didn't.
Right?
It doesn't. It doesn't because you're
Right.
looking. You're going. That's the same with the problem with AI. Like, it makes me laugh because it's you who it's your version of what the brain should be doing that you're trying to create, and you don't understand. Like, they have no idea because they're not taking into consideration consciousness. It's consciousness that's firing the brain. It's not the brain that's firing, that's creating and doing all that stuff. Of course, it's managing, like the whatever, like the autonomic nervous system and this and that, but it's still your consciousness. It's your consciousness. It's your bigger aspect of your being. When you want to cease to exist, everything shuts down.
Yeah, when a physicist or a biologist, a chemist says this statement, Brian Greene has repeated this many times, and I love Brian Greene, but he's wrong here. But
Yeah.
so many think like this, which is, well, it's pretty simple. Okay, you get enough particles together in between your ears, the chemistry reacts with each other, and then consciousness arises out of that mass. I'm like, dude, wrong. Oh, is that you?
Yeah,
What are you
sorry.
doing?
It got cut off, so I just turned on the light. Sorry.
Okay. This is like a live public television broadcast.
Oh,
Our
sorry.
guest getting up and moving. This is
Oh.
like really funny.
Sorry.
One time I had a guest on the show. She's no longer with us. I'm not going to say her name, but she's amazing, and she did so much for this community over the years. She passed away about 10 years ago, but she was on Fade to Black, and I was so excited to have her on. And then I hear this in the background. She goes, Jimmy? I go, yes. She goes, the gas company is here. Can I answer the door?
That's funny.
And I go, yeah, go ahead. She's up. She comes back. She goes, okay. They're working on the valve outside. She was gone for like 10 minutes.
Oh,
And
my
it
God.
was
You got cut off. I thought we both got cut off. Did we not get cut off?
No.
Oh, sorry.
No. It's solid on this end. I didn't see any comments in the comments.
Okay, good. So we're good.
But I always found that fascinating where they want, when I say they, I'm talking about orthodox academia. Now, there are some trendsetters right now.
Yeah.
There are some groundbreaking trailblazers for sure. But in the academic environment, where everything is in the laboratory and going through experiments and observation, measurement, and then a result, right? Well, they want so bad to have consciousness be a chemical reaction.
Yeah.
They want that so bad, man.
Good luck
But they
with that.
can't. Yeah. Good luck with that. Good luck with
that.
that.
It's like, again, they want to measure an invisible thing using visible, like a non-physical thing using physical laws. and physical
but
devices,
yet,
and it just doesn't
but
work. It's like
no. But yet they want us to believe in entanglement,
yeah,
right?
exactly, right.
Which is the most impossible thought ever. First off, Einstein says nothing travels faster than the speed of light. So that dogma has been repeated over and over again and has now
Yep.
become truth.
Yep.
Correct? All right. So now we have entanglement. Two particles that entangle with each other and affect each other no matter the distance or obstacles between them and objects
Exactly.
between them at the same time instantly. Wait a minute. You just said nothing travels faster than the speed of light.
I know.
So how do we test entanglement?
Yeah.
How do you, if nothing travels faster than the speed of light, and this is instant, then how do you know instantly that something happened? You can't, information doesn't travel that fast. Email doesn't travel that fast. A text doesn't travel that fast. No, there's no communication between somebody at the other end watching the entangled pair change its state, right? Versus this one, whatever you say, and it could be this, a hand signal. Well, that hand signal, by the time your eyeballs see it, is too late.
Yep.
But you want us to believe that entanglement is real and that it is a thing. You can't have it both ways, can you? But they want us to.
And what about the double slit experiment?
Perfect example.
It changes when there's an observer. When you're not looking at it, it changes.
Right.
I mean, like, how is that provable? And then the stuff that we talk about is woo-woo. It's just like, so that's kind of where, it gets very interesting. But, like at the end of the day, I don't really worry so much about who's going to believe or whatever. Like, I haven't had scientists like debunk, or like tell me, oh, I've had people say, oh, this is fake. After like some people look at like 30-second clips that, like I have a social media person who puts up stuff to, help facilitate whatever. And so they pull a clip from the movie, 30 seconds. They see the kids with the blindfold. Oh, they're cheating. Oh, that's not real. Oh, you can't change the pH of water. Okay, but you watch the movie, see how we did the experiment, look at what the scientists are saying before commenting. So there's a few of those, but I haven't had like scientists, tell me this is not real science or whatever, because the scientists we are working with are real scientists, some of them ask for more data, which is fair. But I mean, we're doing it the right way, basically,
When it comes to telepathy, and then we're gonna take a break here in a couple of minutes, and we'll take a 5-minute break. But when it comes to telepathy, how does that work? And if it with your answer, how does it work? How do you silence the room and focus on one person to communicate with, or silence the entire globe if you're going to speak to somebody on the other side of the planet too as well? You have to silence, and then how do you find them?
It's not so much silencing. Yeah. Don't forget, telepathy is both ways. So mother and child or partners, couples exchange thoughts all the time, like boom, 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 just like that, because they're always thinking of each other. They're open to each other. They're open to the idea like, oh, is he going to remember to bring the milk or whatever? And here he shows up with the milk, so you are already open to that line of communication, but so is the other person. So when you are trying to work with, like random people, it's not so much that you're expecting them to hear what you're saying, what you're transmitting, but you can, as you know, I did that with you a few times.
Yeah, she did. You did. She did. You did.
Yeah. So, but you didn't hear my thoughts. I heard your thoughts.
I didn't dig it, by the way. I didn't dig it. I didn't. Oh, what Caroline is referencing, everybody. We've had a lot of dinners, but we were out to dinner one night. We were by ourselves, and we closed this restaurant, and so we're sitting in there. We're alone. Well, we did, right? We closed the joint, and so we're sitting there, and I'm saying something, and then she asked me a question, and I said something, and then I went, wait a minute. And I looked right at Caroline. I go, are you reading my mind? And she goes, I am. Just like I was like, yeah, okay, let's move on. Now all of a sudden I'm uncomfortable. Right? I was like, man. And that's part of it, where for a lot of people, right, that they get uncomfortable because now you're naked, right? You're
Yeah, but
exposed.
it's not the way you think. It's not like that. Like, it's like you're peeking into people's stuff. It's not like that. I mean, we were sitting having a conversation, like, so obviously we wanted to communicate with each other. We're
Sure.
open to each other. You know what I mean? But it's not like I spend my day like going in people's heads to see what they're thinking.
Could you, though?
It's a nightmare. Why would you want to do that? It's a
But
nightmare.
could you? The answer is
could.
could you?
Yeah, of course. So that's how I do the sessions. Like, if I'm working with people one-on-one, and they
Now, you're
are
going to be. Oh! I wanted to mention this. We'll do this now, right before the break. You're teaching in the Netherlands next month.
Yeah.
And you're going to be doing some of this, aren't you?
Yeah, so I teach very advanced healing methodologies. But again, what is healing? You know, again, is to basically take out the stuff that you put in, you know. But so there's different techniques, and I do that. I've developed these methodologies, you know, a long time ago. And now this is an advanced class. And so people have to have taken at least the basic classes with me, just so you know the lingo at least, or you're familiarized yourself. Yeah. So, you know, like going back to this. So if somebody wants help, okay, so and you know, they come to me and they say, I want to channel my higher self or my spirit guy, or talk to an alien, or I want to know why I'm sick, well, whatever. Right. So now I want to tap into what they're really thinking, because as you know, the subconscious mind is very funny. You know, you'll be telling me, oh, I really wish I could communicate with my alien friend. And then the subconscious mind is saying, I'm very scared. I can't do this. Only medium can do it, blah, 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 blah. So I can hear these thoughts and I can say, are you sure you want to communicate? And they'll be like, well, you know, and all that other stuff comes up. So I use it to help the person when they want to know something, when I'm trying to help them. I don't just go around peeking into people's lives just for the sake of it. And besides, it's not that interesting, honestly.
Oh, it's totally interesting. Are you kidding me? Well, this is part of it, though. So many people out there, I don't want to sound like I'm talking smack about everybody, but so many out there just don't give a crap. They want to live in this 3D reality, pay their mortgage, go to work, come home, have dinner, watch CNN or Fox News, and go to bed, get up and do it again, right? And then work for the weekend, come home, cut the grass, get back in the car. They're not thinking about anything that is fun or out there or another part. The empathy side of me, it just rips my heart out. Right where I would say it's boring, but they don't even know that it's boring,
right?
Because they've been taught that's life.
Yeah, I don't think I have one friend like this at this point. Because, you know, at the end, you start attracting people who are into this stuff and who want to explore and expand and figure things out. And, you know, I mean, that's why we're here. We're here to understand who we are. Like, what is this about? Like, really just getting up in the morning, you know, making money, getting to a job that you hate, you know, just to pay the rent, blah, 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 buy a house, get a dog, get married. It's like, it's boring.
It's so many are like it. If I had a dinner party and I have a friend come over and they've got a date and we've got 10 people sitting at the dinner table, and I do this all the time. But if somebody said, well, you know, I don't really believe in this stuff, I would turn to my friend and go, you know what, man, you guys got to go.
Yeah.
You're not squashing our mellow tonight, man.
That's funny.
That's it.
Yeah.
Out. out. Let me
Yeah, I
call
love
you.
it. I love it also when they say, I don't believe in that stuff. And what is that stuff? And then like when you ask just a couple questions, well, did this ever happen to you? Yeah, but
Yeah, but they won't. But they won't go in a haunted house.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like, you can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
Either you do or you don't.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if you don't believe that there's woo stuff, what are you afraid of?
Right, right. But your dead grandmother came to you after she died. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's all the same thing, man.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all the same thing. All right. Let's take our break right here. Our guest tonight, the one and only Caroline Cory, is with us. She's a filmmaker. She's a futurist. She's an author. She's a teacher. She's a knowledge collector. We're doing all of that tonight with Caroline. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'll be back with Caroline after this short break. Stay with us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to get your alerts and access to over 2,000 videos. Click that subscribe button right now. Go to jimmychurchradio.com and get the Fade to Black official podcast. 2,000 episodes, all of them commercial free for just $2 a month. Watch Into the Vortex on Gaia TV. It's Fade to Black for the screen. Simple to do. Go to Gaia.com, search Jimmy Church, or click on the link below. Follow Fade to Black on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Get all of the show updates every single day. It's now called X, but who cares? How you doing? Jimmy Church here. Special announcement. Get your Fade to Black t-shirts. That's right. Help support the show. Help support everything that we do over here. We've got 2 t-shirts. We've got 2 ways to get them. Get your Fade to Black t-shirt today. Go Beckley Teppy. Go to jimmychurchradio.com and become a Fadernaut. Get a membership. That's right. Everything is commercial free. You have access to downloads, and you get to call yourself a Fadernaut. Jimmy Church, Gaia TV, Fade to Black, here at Machu Picchu with Brian Forster and Hidden Inca Tours. Amazing tour so far, Brian, but we're here to announce what we're going to do next year in 2026. What's going on?
Okay, November 2026, we're going to have our major tour of Peru and Bolivia, either a pre or post tour of Paracas and Nazca on the coast. And then after that, 6 days in Easter Island.
Bucket list, Easter Island. Come join Brian and I and his amazing team here at Hidden Inca Tours for Peru, Bolivia, and Easter Island. Signing out. Say goodbye, Brian.
Bye, gang.
River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. Truly the best coffee on planet Earth. Just visit rivermoonwellness.com or their Amazon store. It's all simple to do. You can check out the Fade to Black blend, the Game Changer blend, or any of their Black Moon Wellness products. It's the only coffee I drink. It is the best, and it's Doc. Again, rivermoonwellness.com. All right. Welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, the one and only Caroline Cory. She is with us. She's a filmmaker. She's an author. She's a futurist, and she's a knowledge collector. She's a teacher and has been doing this forever. One of my favorite people and somebody that I've learned an awful lot from over the years. And I call her friend too, as well. Caroline, what do you make of I3 Atlas and this third known interstellar object to enter our star system, now currently on the other side of the sun, and we can't observe it? But what do you think that is? Avi Loeb is saying some pretty incredible things right now. We all respect Avi. He's somebody that we've been talking about this a lot. He bases his comments on data collection only. He doesn't go way out there. But he's saying this is a 20-mile wide object, and that there isn't enough material out there in space to collect rocky material to have a natural object that is 20 miles wide, traveling like it is, making intelligent moves. So what do you make of I3 Atlas?
To be honest, I didn't really look at it too much because I've been filming. So just to be honest, I just read through it and I didn't really, study it or do anything like that. But I can just kind of not guess, but kind of
Well,
tune
yeah.
in.
What are your thoughts? It's pretty incredible.
Yes.
It,
Go ahead.
it reminds me somewhat of Arthur C. Clarke's Rama series of books. Very, very close to that. He says that it is not a coincidence that this thing comes from interstellar space, zeroes in on Earth, Mars, and Jupiter, and passes all of those planets at the same time, orbits the sun, and comes out on the other side, and making a couple of moves to make that happen. That is beyond coincidence. He's given a few examples, 1 in 20,000, and these data-driven statements on why he thinks it's intelligent and that it's not natural.
Yeah, I mean, I think just from what I saw, like again, briefly, I just zipped through the information. I personally think it's not necessarily like an actual like spaceship or anything like that. I think it's intelligently how should I say, like operated, but it's not necessarily spaceship kind of a thing. And I don't think that's what he was suggesting either, right?
Oh no, I think he's strongly suggesting that. I think
really?
he is strongly suggesting that. Now, he says when it comes out, now this is going to be, and we're leading up to this, it's going to be October 30th. Okay. And that Halloween of all things too, as well, right?
Yeah, I know.
So that's when we're going to be able to observe it and collect the data collection on this is going to be crazy.
Right.
But we have to wait until then. And he said recently, I might have him on Fade to Black here soon and ask him these questions, but he said then he will make comments.
Right.
Right now with the data that he has, it suggests to him that this is something intelligent and it's here for a reason. It's not natural.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, I feel it is intelligent, but I don't know
like
if
a probe, but like a
yeah, exactly. I don't think it's like like beings inside, like like navigating it. I feel it's more of a probe that can be moved around. That's kind of how it feels to me. I don't know.
Well, and the comparisons, and I'm not really going too woo-woo with this, but when you look at the comparisons with the Rama series of books, and Arthur C. Clarke, talk about a futurist, right?
Yeah, right.
And a visionary. In the Rama series of books, we have an interstellar object approaching our star system. We start to track it, and it takes about 2 years. And then we find out it's heading straight to Earth, and that it slows down and starts to make a couple of trajectory moves.
Mm.
Well, that's exactly what is
What
going
is it
on right
doing?
here.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
man.
There's quite a few things with Arthur C. Clarke that, it was pretty right on, that did
Spot
happen.
on. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
spot
yeah.
on. Yeah, so it's fascinating. They just feel to me more like probes, It doesn't mean that they're not intelligently operated. I'm just saying, to me, they don't feel like, kind of like the Tic Tacs, where, remember those? Where
Right.
it's
Right.
the thing, that's kind of how they feel to me. And obviously, they're moving through 0 points and they're not being, following linear propulsion, clearly. So that's when we're talking about the universal laws, how you're supposed to navigate consciousness, but also how you're supposed to navigate space. It's the same principles.
Well, we try to, I mentioned this earlier, so I don't want to sound like I'm repeating myself, but we try to, in a natural way, we try to understand the phenomenon. I'm talking about contact and ET and who is here, based on our current knowledge,
Yeah.
so we can understand. However, ET is getting here, and it could be from any star system, any galaxy, any point of to travel that kind of distance to get here is way beyond our understanding. You can hypothesize and dream, but
Right.
whatever it is, we don't understand it. And you, like in A Tear in the Sky,
Right.
which was a crazy segment of that film.
Right.
What you suggest in that film is way beyond our comprehension.
Really?
Way
I mean, like, to me, it just makes so much sense.
well, it yeah, well,
That you're
but
like, you
wait,
just
wait,
project your, the probe or whatever, or your
right,
consciousness,
right. No, I
to
understand that part. That's not what I'm saying.
yeah.
It's how are they doing it? We
Right,
can
that's what I'm saying.
observe the phenomenon, but if they told us how they did it,
I can tell
it
you how
wouldn't
they
be
do
what
it.
you, no,
Yeah,
no.
I
It would
can tell you how they do it.
okay, tell
Again,
me.
like, can I prove it? You know what I mean? Like, that's another conversation, but consciousness is entangled. Remember, that's what we're trying to do here on our tiny little planet and our tiny little world, trying to go, oh my God, can I move this physical object with my mind? Oh, can I change the pH of water? What are we doing? We are using consciousness to affect a physical object, right? So if you kind of fast forward, I don't know how many years, but anyway, to the point where can my consciousness operate an entire car? You have right now self-riding cars, but what if your consciousness is powerful enough that it can operate an entire car? And then from there you extrapolate, well, can it navigate in space? And so on and so forth. You keep like adding to the capability of what your consciousness can do, and you can get there. I mean, how is it possible that we are moving small objects with our minds here? If this is not possible, it should never be possible. So
Right.
that I think their consciousness gets entangled. They know how to entangle themselves with the object itself, the ship, and navigate it. Actually, they could be on it or they could be not on it, and still navigate it to using coordinates. And
Right,
these
right.
coordinates aren't linear. These coordinates are the fastest way to get to Earth. So, which appear to us from a linear perspective that they're zigzagging, but actually they're going boom, boom,
Zoop.
boom.
Yeah,
Yeah,
zoop,
exactly. Yep.
zoop. Well, I think it's so easy for them to do. For example, earlier tonight, everybody, Caroline said, Jimmy, why don't you come up to my house in Utah for dinner? And I said, yeah, I can jump on a plane tomorrow, fly up for dinner, come home, and be ready for the show the next day. Why? Because it's easy and it's fun. And I would say that ET's doing the same thing, Caroline.
Exactly.
You know what,
Exactly.
honey, let's go to Earth, right? Let's go get an In-N-Out burger. We could be back before the kids get out of school. And boom, they do it. And because it's easy. And that's the part where we're trying to make it so complicated. It's 10 million light years away. Do you know how many miles that is? You know, it's just the vastness of space. It's so big. You don't understand how big it. How could they do it because it's easy.
Yeah, and
They don't
because
do
they're
it
not
because it
using
takes
our
10
science. They're not using our
Not at
linear
all.
science. Like, first, let's get to the moon. Then let's push further and let's go to Mars. And then let's try to go to the sun. I mean, it's like it's all linear instead of understanding that space is in all directions of time and space, basically. And it just works through wormholes. I mean, it's coordinates, it's specific coordinates. I'm going to tell you a story, which is like, I don't know, doesn't matter what people think. But so I was in my house, I think, I don't know, 2 years ago. I don't remember. And all of a sudden, it was nighttime. And all of a sudden, I feel like go outside, go outside. So I go outside and I see these 3 lights right above the house. And they were going like boom, like this. They were like bouncing off of each other. I was like, what is that? What does that? You know, so it took me a second. I was like, wait, that could be something else. So, you know, it's not a star. It's not and it was pretty low. That was another thing.
What color were they?
White.
Okay.
And so of course I run in to get my camera, night vision camera. Of course, no battery, couldn't do it. Could not see anything with my iPhone. I was like, whatever, hell with it. Let me just. So I'm looking at this thing and I keep thinking, can't be anything else. What is that? What is that? So I start to entangle with it and communicate with it. As you know, I can do that.
Really?
And then I said, well, if you are what I think you are, show me something. I swear to you, those 3 orbs or whatever they are, they're bouncing off of each other like this, split into 4.
Wow.
Then they split into 6. I was like, okay, so they could hear me.
I like that. I like that.
I was like, okay, well, if you can hear me, why don't you follow me? So I go outside. I live in this like big community. It's nighttime, right? So I started to walk in one direction, like a good half mile. I'm walking and I'm looking at them, and they're literally like, like, wow. I mean, and then I changed direction and they're like literally like hovering above me, doing all this crazy stuff. And then I say, who are you? Who are you? What is this? And I literally could see, and I mean, it was like 2 beings, one kind of teaching their kid, their child, whatever, to operate this device, whatever it was, this ship, this light ship or something. And then suddenly, like, I felt like they were in a rush to leave. It's just a feeling, because it's telepathy. It's, I can't prove it in this. And then they're like, we have to leave soon because this part of the earth gets like clogged up or something. And then we're stuck here, kind of a thing. It was that sort of understanding. So before they left, I see this woman, she's walking her dog, right? It's at night. And I say, hey, excuse me. I didn't even know the neighbor, right? I said, look up there. Like, do you see these things? They're like bouncing off of each other. And they're like, and then she looks up and she goes, oh yeah, I can see them. I said, what do you think they are? And then she's like, oh, I don't know. Maybe like, fireworks or some stupid thing, she said. And then she goes about walking her dog. And
Isn't that crazy?
And I'm like, so anyway, I knew somebody else had seen them, but of course didn't register for her. But the point being, in that quick exchange, I understood that they could come to certain points in our airspace where, that's why I understand that it's those those nodes within our time-space continuum, which is where I believe our wormhole or some sort of
do you think that they sent out like a mass email, telepathy come outside to those that can receive it. And you received it and you went outside.
It's possible. I mean, it's just a feeling. I was just minding my own business. I felt like just go outside. But of course, my cameras weren't working. So that's too bad.
That's right.
Next time they should warn me. but anyway.
After the show a few months ago, maybe 6 months ago, I go into my kitchen and I put my cell phone down, and then I have a group. It's an app of our neighbors, right? It's a neighborhood watch app that one of my neighbors built. It's amazing, and we're all on it. Everybody here in the community, and we live. I live on a golf course. Okay, so and we're all on this group chat thing, and the posts come in all the time. I usually ignore them because it's somebody asking about garbage collection or whatever, and lost dog. And I look down and I see these alerts pop in, boop, boop, boop. And I look, is anybody watching these lights in the sky? All right. Now this caught my attention, right? Because my neighbors, this is a golf course, man. This isn't, these people are not about this stuff. Anyway, so I look, I said, what? And I was like cooking. And I look again, and the next one was like, yeah, man, there's a group of them and they're going north. And then the next one comes in, yeah, are you watching this? The next one, are you guys outside looking? I was like, what the hell is going on? So after all of these things, and I'm looking at which houses they are, which, right here. So I go outside, got my phone. I don't see anything. And I was watching the alert. I'm outside. I'm like, what is everybody seeing? And I posted these online.
Right.
I posted all the comments. I didn't say who the neighbors were or anything like that, but I posted their comments and the timestamps of each one. I was out there in the middle of all of this and I didn't see anything. And my neighbors did. And it was really frustrating, which goes back to
the neighbor.
Well, but are some things meant for certain people to see?
Well, wait, is it possible in your case, because you believe in it? It's not like my neighbor was like completely like not.
Well,
interested.
that's my point. Yeah,
she saw it. Yeah, she was like, "Oh, fireworks! How could that be fireworks, lady?" It's like. But anyway, but for you, is it possible? Were they already gone by the time you came out?
No, the comments were still coming in when I was outside. So maybe I didn't need to see it. They didn't need to show themselves to me. I don't know. It was
interesting.
I didn't see anything, and trust me, I wanted to. I wanted to join in on the fun, and there was probably, by the time this was done, 40 maybe.
Wow.
40 comments. Yeah.
That's crazy. And it was multiple orbs or whatever they were.
I'm getting comments from people that have no idea how to comment.
What they are. Yeah. But you know what? It could have been the Starlinks too. Like some people confuse the Starlink with UFOs still. So
they do. Yeah. But I would have seen Starlink. I've seen Starlink pass over my house.
True. Yeah, it's kind of impressive too. But I don't know. But the point is though, it's interesting. So, but those guys, like what I understood from this whole exchange is that they come in our airspace to specific like hubs. Like I said, I call them nodes. If you're familiar with the way I explained the planetary grid, like how space is kind of around the planet. So they're able to get in specifically to those places, and then like it's coordinates. So it's like then they can move from here to here and then from here to here. It's not linear, obviously. And then they get out to completely to another star system, like boom, just like that. And so they were saying that like they were so close, they were literally like really not far. So and they made it sound like they were in a rush to leave so they don't get stuck in this apparently our nodes or something get clogged up or something, and then they can't get out.
How do you think first contact is going to play out?
Not over the White House.
Okay.
It depends. I wonder if I thought about this before. I think it may be on different levels. I think it will be a coordinated thing, but not one big thing. For example, is it possible that we would see a being, that would be visible and touchable and whatever, and that would create some sort of turmoil or whatever, some sort of bring attention to it, and then another thing happens. I feel like it's more like pieces of the puzzle that would eventually bring us to a big understanding, not just for us because we believe that's possible, but more from like a government or some sort of authority figure that would say, okay, we can't keep denying this and this and this and that. This is what's going on. That's what I feel. I feel like
yeah. And whenever the members of this community and this family, that's one thing. Contact is made all the time. I've made it, you've made it.
Yeah.
But that's something altogether different than when I saw the beer can, right? So we see that in remote Washington where there's nobody up there to see it except for us.
Right.
Why didn't that happen over LA? And if that happened over LA, it would be case closed.
Exactly. I think it would be a bigger coordinated thing. That's why it's not just you and Mount Shasta and her and Peru and him. And,
right.
Like more like,
frustrating.
Like a boom, like a big thing over here and then a big thing over here and kind of like that.
Like Arrival.
No, well, Arrival was an actual spaceship that landed, right?
Right,
and then
right. Like 12 of them. Yeah, 12 of them at the same time.
Yeah. No, I don't think that's going to be like that, like right off the bat. I think maybe we see a being first somehow. And then, so I don't know exactly, but it just feels like in like puzzle, like it feels like more like in pieces, not puzzle, but more like one big event here. They'll try to deny it and say, no, don't look there. And then another big thing and another big thing, but it's actually all coordinated. That's how it feels to me. I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah. My issue that I have today, because we pushed technology so far now with AI and video production and the ability to do this stuff has gotten everybody so acclimated to the first answer that pops in their head.
Is this fake? Yeah, exactly.
That's AI. So it would have to be something, like you said, something tangible.
Yeah, exactly. Something where, like an actual being that's non-human that everybody can see, everybody can touch. And even then, some people would say, what is this, magic? I mean, of course, but then, to a point where it cannot be refuted, So, but now, AI has a capability. They can do a whole production using AI. Did you know that?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, so what do we do with that being? Do we parade them around?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I just see like kind of as one episode. I have to follow that episode to see what happens. So maybe he'll show up in my living room.
The TV show Resident Alien, which I really enjoyed that a lot, and they did 4 seasons and it just wrapped and it got canceled. God, I can't believe that. I can't. Anyway, when you have so many great TV shows like that, it's getting people too used,
Mm-hmm.
to the phenomenon. You know what I mean? The shock value of having ET show up, like you're saying, an actual being to go,
Yeah.
okay, so this is what's going on. I
Yeah.
got some good news and I got some bad news, right?
Right.
Okay, right. And that too many people would just call it fake news, fake video. It's a hologram. You know what I mean? This is something else. This is an AI generated. Because we're just so acclimated to it that the shock value, oh, maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. So we wouldn't go into panic mode.
I don't think it's a panic mode, but it's the AI thing is going to be a huge problem, like you're saying. Like half the people right off the bat will be like, "Nah, this is all fake. This is like you're saying hologram." But then if you're touching the hologram, that's a different story. It's like so.
Right.
The only problem, like what we have to understand, is that what constitutes, sorry, an alien. It's a being that does not look human, right? So if this being does not look human and he looks alienish, whatever, it means that his DNA is different. It's very possible, more likely than not, then if that DNA is alien, how is it going to match the Earth chemistry and atmosphere and be able to exist here the way we exist, breathing and drinking and eating or whatever? Or do they not eat, or do they not breathe? You know what I'm saying? They just look different. And so if they are alien, means they're made different. And that's the reason why sometimes we see them wearing these bodysuits, because they're not bodysuits like just for fashion. It's preventing them from burning from our atmosphere because they're not used to it. They breathe differently. You see what I'm saying? So that's where the problem is going to be. Can an alien being exist? Just walk the earth.
Well,
just
that's
like
you know what? You bring up a good point.
And if
By
they
the
look,
way,
they're
they would
human.
look like my alien hacky sack.
Exactly. So
That's
how is he made? Does he have? Does he breathe like a human?
well,
Does he,
this is why. All right. Ponder this one, young lady. That's why they live possibly
underground or
under
whatever.
the ocean.
Yeah,
Why?
or
Because you could create your own atmosphere.
not just the ocean, underground and everything else.
Well,
So,
that's the yeah. But don't squash my mellow.
yeah, sorry.
Let's stay on this thought though, where you
Okay.
would have a controlled environment that
Yeah.
you could build your own
Yeah,
planet,
exactly.
and you could exist under the bubble. You're
Exactly.
breathing. Maybe you
Yeah.
breathe liquid methane. I don't
Or
know.
something. Yeah, it does. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
like on Venus, we can't breathe on Venus. We burn, but there are beings that don't burn because they're made differently. They're not human. They're Venetian or whatever. So the point being is, if we're going to see them in the flesh, if they look human, then they have human DNA, then they're not totally alien. If they look alien, then they're not made like us. And I don't know how they can function within our atmosphere, or you know what I mean, and our without some sort of apparatus, to help them. As if
Well,
we
the
went
moon-
to Mars. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. The moon has a thin atmosphere, but that doesn't mean we can live without a spacesuit, or Mars, or
Exactly.
anything else outside of Earth. We're going to need a suit. So why do we think strange now? If there are ETs on this planet without that, have they modified their DNA? Have they been
Yeah,
here
exactly.
forever? Did they
Yeah.
evolve into breathing oxygen and so forth? And I would say the short answer is yes.
Yeah, but they have to have some human DNA. What is the human?
Right.
The
Mhm.
human DNA tells your brain how to function, how to receive electricity and receive the chemistry of your body to function and exist on the planet. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
if we
Are they
modify-
using like CRISPR, right? Snip, snip,
yeah.
and
Yeah, but then if they start, then they could do what? Do they start looking like us? Then they're not totally alien. You know what I mean? So I think this is where it gets a little tricky.
no,
Where,
they look like you.
well, that's another conversation.
Yeah, they look
I'm
at.
definitely alien. Come on.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm not so sure. It's kind of like the movie They Live, right? I'm not so sure if I'm confident enough to say that there's no ETs among us. That when you're walking down the street, man, I think there's a high probability you're walking past lots of aliens. And I know that sounds to some people like crazy talk, but if they get here, Caroline, they are smart. They know how to do things that we don't understand, which is one would be modifying their DNA, the way that they look and everything else. And the other part is DNA is universal. Particles are particles. Maybe they look a lot like us and they haven't modified anything. And they just happen to have 2 ears, 2 eyes, and a body like ours. Why not?
Well, the way I see it is that if you look human, somewhat human, okay? So you look human. I look somewhat human, right? So you have to have a part of your DNA being human. You know, if you're drinking and sleeping and whatever, so part of your DNA is human. What's the other part? So some people
Right.
have a little bit of human DNA so that they just look like this and function like a normal human, but a big part of their DNA is not human. And so it's a matter of percentage. You know what I mean? Like, how much of your DNA is human? How much of your DNA is alien?
When you say not human,
Yeah.
explain.
Well, you could be from any star system, from any planetary system, just not
And
from
so
this planet.
right. So
Humans
if
are the
somebody's
ones.
looking at, if somebody's looking at, if a geneticist is looking at that piece of DNA, your DNA, and looking at it, if they don't have an identifier to compare it to, then they
Exactly.
don't know what that is, right?
And they're going to call it junk DNA.
Junk
Hello.
DNA.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what junk DNA is.
You think so?
I know. I think so. Of course. What else is there? They don't know. It's not human. What is it?
Why is it? It's such a good point. Why is it that most of the stuff that we don't use, we don't know why we don't use it, but yet it is there? Our brain.
Does it make sense to you? Just look around at life. The millions and millions of types of breeds of animals and trees and flowers and stars, trillions of stars, trillions of, I don't know, galaxies. I mean, whoever created this whole thing created an intelligent species, put it on planet Earth down there, and created a DNA that doesn't do anything. Does that make sense to you?
No, it does not. It makes
There is
zero
nothing.
sense.
There is nothing in existence that does not have a purpose, that was organically created. Every single atom in your body has a purpose. In fact, that's why we get sick, because some stuff is no longer having, whatever. And so how is it possible that your DNA, which is really the information that tells your entire body how to function, that 90% of it is just there just for fun? Come on.
Okay, here
Was
we
that
go.
like a
You ready?
whoopsie, let's just,
Yeah.
we forgot. It's like,
So the question to AI that I just punched in is, how much of our brain do we use? Okay. This is the AI answer. The claim that humans only use 10% of their brains is a common misconception. Scientific evidence demonstrates that we utilize all parts of our brains, albeit varying degrees depending on activity and individual differences. Brain imaging studies such as fMRI scans show that all areas of the brain are active when we perform tasks, even simple ones. If only 10% of the brain were active, it would consume significantly less energy than it does. So, AI's got it wrong too, as well, right?
But this is the brain functioning instead of the DNA. Ask about how much of the DNA do we really know, or I don't know what question.
I'm doing that now as I talk. See, I can talk to you, and type and
At the
think
same
at the
time.
same time. Yeah. So here we go. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. It's a smaller number than I thought. You ready?
Yeah.
This is why we love Caroline Cory. This is from AI. Only a small fraction of human DNA, approximately 2%, is directly used for codes and proteins. The remaining 98%, often referred to as junk DNA,
Yep.
was previously thought to be largely functionless. However, it is now understood that a significant portion of this non-coding DNA plays crucial roles in regulating gene expression and other cellular processes.
What?
Uh-huh.
What
These
other?
genes,
And
yeah, I
how
don't know.
much of it? And how much of it?
Well, again, they go back to the 2%. Those genes, which make up 2% of our DNA, carry the instructions for building proteins, the workhorses of our cells. The non-coding DNA, 7 to 10%, contains regulatory elements, while a large portion of the non-coding DNA is thought to be non-functional. So there you go.
Non-functional. So you are created like, when you are born or whatever, your body knows how to breathe, how to eat, how to digest food, how to sleep, how to wake up, how to walk, knows all of that stuff. And yet there's this whole pack of information that's absolutely useless.
The amount of
Does that even make
information,
sense to you?
right? The amount of information that's packed in that 2%. That's how amazing DNA is. That
Exactly.
in that instruction set is telling one molecule to be a fingernail and another molecule to be in the retina of the eye.
Exactly.
And then it all assembles and happens to actually work.
Exactly.
That's crazy. And the other part of the instruction set of DNA, which for me, I haven't unpacked this yet. Maybe the Dalai Lama has, but molecules are molecules. Why are we not the same? You and I and everything else. Why aren't we just duplicates of each other?
No.
What makes us different in look and thought and everything else? And that DNA knows how to create that.
Because it's redundant. Then it becomes purposeless. The point of creation, I was just saying, is purpose. There is a purpose. Every time consciousness creates itself, remember, it emerges in a new aspect. It's a new form. Even twin, what do you call Siamese twin? Identical twins.
Identical, yeah.
They're still like, even though they look exactly, the same, there's 0.0000001% of difference. There is a difference. And so, because otherwise creation is not purposeful. What's the point? That's why when people say, there's this theory, I don't know if there are people still thinking about that, that you exist in multiple universes doing the same thing. It doesn't make any sense, because they wouldn't have a purpose. What's the point of you doing the same thing somewhere else? So the fundamental thing of creation, it's constantly creating new star system, new universes, it keeps expanding and thriving and thriving. That is the fundamental universal law. So why would you create a DNA that's exactly the same? It's intrinsically impossible.
I agree. And then I did DMT.
Okay.
Okay. And when I entered another dimension that
Yeah.
is alive around us, and I entered that was still me there, but I'm in another dimension. And
That's
what
different.
that's well, but yeah, it is. But what it said to me was there's something else out there that exists that I can visit. So the idea of a multiverse or multiple dimensions to the left and right that the quantum resides in, that's how quantum computers work, and getting into that idea, I think that DMT answers a lot of questions with that. How could I exist in another dimension or in the multiverse? And then I just go and so while I'm there and I'm making decisions, that's me. Would those be the same decisions that I make here? No,
It,
they
I
would
don't know
be
if it's the
different.
same
I think
decision.
it's a different. I think it's a different existence.
It's a no, but it's a different topic altogether. You said why wouldn't be the exact same person, the same DNA, like a double um, Jimmy Church, but what you're talking about, it's the same Jimmy Church, but you're exploring, you're experiencing your consciousness in different realities. That's
Would that?
very different.
Yeah, kind of.
Kind
No,
of like
you're
dream,
right. You're
kind of like
right.
a dream, kind of
No,
like a
I understand.
dream, or like a
I
lucid
understand.
dream. Yeah,
I
it's still
understand.
you.
It's not lucid. No, you
No,
enter
I'm just saying.
another
I'm just
dimension.
saying, like it's still
Okay, so the
you.
okay, so let me throw a twist on this.
Okay.
Um, so I'm there. I'm in this other dimension, hanging out. But in this dimension, people are still observed. It's like a double slit experiment. They observe me here,
Hmm.
right? They observe. I'm still here, but I am actually there at the same time. When it's over, pop, and you pop back into this reality, and you open your eyes, it is a little confusing. It's like,
Right,
oh,
but
I'm back. I'm back.
yeah, but we didn't duplicate your DNA. It's just your DNA that experienced other dimensional reality.
Have you done? No, I'm not so sure that that's the case. Have you done DMT?
No.
Okay, I'm going to get you hooked up. See, this is the thing. This is the thing. I didn't understand any of it like I'm explaining it to you right now.
I've
I
done
had
other
heard
things.
about I know you have. But but I have heard about the experiences. I read about thousands of cases and everything else, but I had no base. I thought I understood, and then I did it. And wow, talk about a paradigm shift for me. You know how I reacted? I came
How?
home. I came
Uh-huh.
home to my house
Yeah.
and I went upstairs into my bedroom and I was all calm and collected, but then I went upstairs in my bedroom and I did this. I'm going to change cameras. I did this. I went to another world. And I yelled it, Caroline, I yelled it out loud to myself. There
Mm.
wasn't anybody else here. I live alone. There wasn't so when you that's your true self. That's what I experienced. It wasn't some hallucination, LSD, psilocybin, magic mushroom, recreational, yeah thing. No, 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 no. It's not a drug. It's a key. It's a plane ticket. It's crazy. It's crazy. So you should not I shouldn't say you should, but if you're open to it only for your own data collection,
Data
right?
collection. Yeah. Okay.
To just go, okay, so that's what it's about. Okay, all right. Yeah, it's and here's the other thing. And there are like Andrew Gallimore's written a couple of great books on this, and
Mhm.
he's a neuroscience neurophysician, PhD, and very intelligent guy. This is the crazy part is when you go to a new country for the first time. Okay. So you're in your neighborhood every day. You're in your house in Utah every day. You know your neighborhood. Your brain doesn't need to calculate that. It knows what's going on. It knows the cars on the streets. It knows everything. It doesn't have to reprocess and learn all of that. But you go to a new country for the first time, your brain is now processing new faces, new people, new houses, new construction, new cities, streets, this, that, smells of foods. All of these things are new, and your brain is working all of that out. When you have the DMT experience and you go to this new dimension, your brain is calculating that too as well. It is completely foreign, and it is putting it all together. I did it twice. First time, heavy brain thing going, okay, where are we? Right? What are we seeing? Second time, it was more built. Right. I don't know how to explain it. It's like you go back to Egypt a second time. So now your brain is acclimated.
You already
to Egypt.
know. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah. You would write a book.
Well, the thing is, it's like, for me, it's because I've had so many experiences, like since I was a kid, seeing myself on another planet, seeing myself as a being, different than this being, seeing myself in different realities. So it's like, I don't know, doing it artificially, how that's going to turn out. I don't know.
It's not artificial. It's a key.
No, I mean like to do it, like forcing it, like, just doing it through DMT, as opposed to the way I organically happen to do it.
Yep. That's why you need to do it.
We'll find out.
Yeah. Well, only so if you and I had this conversation, or you were talking to somebody else about it in the future, you would have a test. You would have a laboratory, right? You would have your
data
results.
collection.
Data collection. And you could talk, because now I can. And I do understand a lot more, not everything, but a lot more about other people's experiences. And it's I'm here to tell you, it's not a hallucination. It's not that. It's real. It's real. It's just as real as the room you're sitting in.
How do you compare it with when you did your past life for you? How was it different?
Okay. The fascinating thing. First off, it was wonderful. I was scared before, not scared, but just a little not worried. I don't know, because you hear all of these things and about how unbelievable it is. But it was warm, wonderful, cool, amazing, and from the word go. But this is the trippy thing. There is no time, zero, for it to get into your bloodstream. There isn't any time delay, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, a minute, 5 minutes. Man, is this kicking in yet? No. Oh, no. It is that fast.
Okay.
Like that. So I immediately, when I say immediately, just like that, like the elevator doors open, it was like that. And I step out, and this sign came right into my vision, and it said, it was an arrow, like lit up with lights, and it said, "Enter here." And it was pointing down, and I saw it. It's real. It's not a hallucination. It's not pink elephants flying around. It's not Dumbo. It's not unicorns. It's an actual sign, and it's there and says, "Enter here." So I did. And I can't, it's my vision, but I'm walking, and I go straight into this, and I'm on this path, and I'm walking. Somebody is talking behind me, and it was telling me, "Jimmy, okay, you can stay on the path, or you can go left, or you can go right. It's your decision, but I'm here for you. So, are you ready?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's go." It's so natural. It's like it was like nothing, and I just ventured in and walked around and looked at things and observed. And
so somebody was like there in the experience.
I never turned. I never turned around to see. It was a female voice, though.
Okay, whereas in a past life, first of all, it takes a while to kind of get into the zone. That's different. But then once you're in there, how is that different?
Yeah. So my regression was about it was an hour and 11 minutes. How's that for craziness? Yeah, 111. But what I didn't think I could be put under, but I was, and that part was easy because I did it on camera. And you know how it is when you're shooting.
Yeah, yeah.
As soon as the cameras are rolling, nothing happens. Everybody loses their train of thought. You got to do take number 2, right? Take number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But in this case, it's only, it's one take, and this is live. And I didn't know. Well, I went under, and I went under very quickly. I don't even remember going under. It happened that fast. But what was different in that was somebody else entered the room. I will say, when I say room, it felt like I was in this black empty space kind of thing. I don't and so I'm there. I guess I could hear Sarah. I don't remember hearing Sarah, but I was answering and talking to her. But there was a third person that came in and was talking to Sarah in the third person. Was the crazy part. And I was listening, and I swear, I was like, who are you? Right? What's going on?
And
because
that was your higher self?
Yeah. And I didn't know anything about any of this stuff. And it
Interesting.
all started, woo. and it definitely it unlocked a memory that I had that I didn't even know. As a matter of fact, the third person said, just like this, Jimmy doesn't know anything about this, but and I remember going, know anything about what's going on here? And then this memory got unlocked, bloop, and now the memory is there. I have it. It's crazy. But the other part was there was some third person comments about who I was and my purpose for doing what I do as a job.
Right.
And that was and using words, a vocabulary that I don't use. I was pretty fascinated with that.
Oh, is that your like higher self?
That's what Sarah says. When I go back, I have the files.
Right.
From that was part of the agreement that I had, that I got the files and I didn't want anybody to ever see them. So I own the files, and I've gone back and looked at these with all the camera angles and everything, and looked at this, and I don't even know who that person was. I mean, it was my higher self,
right?
But it was a cadence, right, of speaking that I don't do. I know. I wish I could talk like that. This person was pretty smart, but yeah, vocabulary, and I didn't know. It was amazing to.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was amazing.
That's consciousness for you. You see
So
how
much.
we're not linear. It's like we're so multidimensional, having all these different experiences. It's all you.
Well, that's why, just like you and DMT and other things, that's why I did the regression. So I knew what it was all about. And okay, some cool things came out of it, and it was fascinating. But I wanted to be able to talk to other people with the experience in my back pocket, so I understand the process. And then it's the same thing with DMT or other things going on sky watches and doing these remote viewing things that so I have a point of reference for all of this. I'm so curious.
Right.
That all I want to do is just go out there and learn. Same thing. It's the same process that you do. When is Superhuman 2? When do you think that's going to be released?
I'm going to try the end of this year, if not the beginning of next year. I'm very excited about it because not just this experiment, but I also talk a lot about frequency and energy, how it's all about energy and frequency, but also a frequency-based technology for healing devices. Like, for example, I have this watch. I think you've seen that. You see the red light. So these are frequencies that are delivered through the red light into your body. So, so for example, I did a white label. So this is my stuff. And so, so you put for example, I do all these guided meditation where you clear out your energy, or you bring, higher vibration, or whatever it may be. And it's my energy, my frequency of the voice. As you know, now we can identify the frequency of the voice and detect a lot of biomarkers for health. They're using it in healthcare. But in this case, so it's picking up the frequency and basically translating it into this device. And as if you were in this meditation, you're getting that information all day long as you wear the watch. So some of it is anti-anxiety, some of it is for sleep, some of it is for opening your third eye. So it works. We tried it one time, and it just had like 120% change in the person. And so we decided to do this device, and it's amazing because
I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it here on your website. And let me see here. Hold on.
It's called Superhuman Watch.
Oh, I've got it right here. I'm looking at it. Nikki.
Yeah, that's the maker. And so they have also their frequencies. They have one that's really good for sleep that I love. It just knocks you out. But so I did my own. I sent them one of them just to test. And the guy who's in charge of this tried it, and he said he has ADHD, and he said this. I put it on. This was the first time, and I don't know how many years, 20 years, that my mind was so calm and focused. And they tested it on other people, the other frequencies on other people, and it was like having amazing results that we ended up doing a whole white label.
Wow, this is really cool. We've got the links up for this. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put the link up right now. Bill's probably, and Jessica and John have it already up there, but I'm putting the link up directly for the watch. But if you go to CarolineCory.com, the links that I have down below will take you straight to the Omnium website, and then you click on products, and it's right there. But I just put the link up right there. Superhuman, you can see it. Yeah,
Superhuman watch. Cool. Yeah, and so when we tested it, mine performed so high. So the company said, we're willing to, we want to do this with you. And so I have a whole Superhuman, there's one for abundance, one for especially anxiety or things like that. It's so helpful. I have one for chemistry balance. It balances your electrolytes and hormones and chemistry, basically. And I used to have all these blood sugar, because when you're working, you know how it is. We're at a conference, you're going. And I used to always have these blood sugar drops. And with this, I'm just so this stuff works, and it's all frequency. And I like that it's delivered with light. And there's no EMF on this. We've tested it. There's 0 EMF. And so, so I'm very, very excited about this. We're doing other things as well. So in the movie, we talk about all the different types of frequency-based devices and technologies. For example, using your voice again. Where
I like that. Well, you have self-love, love and gratitude, mental clarity.
No, yeah. So that's within the watch. These are the frequencies already here. But another technology is you basically speak, through this device, and it picks up basically what's missing in your, where you have imbalance, whether it's your digestive system or this or that. And it also repairs it with frequency. So it's all just using energy and frequency, completely different way of dealing with imbalances and disease. They can pick up cancer, diabetes, parasites, all sorts of things just through your voice.
Wow, that's incredible.
So, yeah.
Where can everybody follow what you're doing? Is the website the best way to do that?
Well, yeah, social media, of course. I always post stuff. CarolineCory.com. Usually it's when I'm teaching like these methodologies. And my movies are OmniumMedia.com. You have that up there. But usually, when we make announcement, if they go to CarolineCory.com, we send out a newsletter when we have, something to announce. We don't bombard people. So that's probably the best way, or social media. I mean, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, everywhere. And we'll announce when the film is coming out. There's some really, really cool stuff in this film and really cool people in the movie as well. So
I look forward to it. I love all of your films, and we'll talk about it when it comes out. And if you need me, you know where I'm at. Caroline Cory, everybody. Thank you so much, Caroline. Never change. We love you so much. Thank you for your contributions to this community, and your work speaks for itself. Thank you so much, Caroline. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks so much for having me. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Caroline Cory. Perfect show tonight. And Omnium Media.com. And of course, throughout the links below, you can just click and head straight over there. Another great conversation with Caroline. She is so amazing when she is on the show. And there you go. I'm over my time limit tonight. So we just ended on the network. But nonetheless, tomorrow night here on Fade to Black, Linda Moulton Howe. That's right. Earth Files on Fade to Black. So I'll see everybody tomorrow night. But until then, all I've got is go backly tappy. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee Newman, and Michelle Freed. Special thanks to Bill, John, Dex, Jessica, Dennis, and Kevin. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music by Doug Aldrich. Intro, Space Boy. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2024 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Go backly tappy.